Okay, we continue now with the next bracha, Re'einu Vanenu. So Re'einu Vanenu, see our afflictions and our fights and battles. We are asking the Melech Malchei Hamlachim, the Rabbeinu Shalom, to see our situation. We all know where we're holding. We are very weak, and we want the Rabbeinu Shalom to fight for us. Rashi learns that this is referring to the daily battles that we suffer from. We remind ourselves that we simply cannot survive without the Rabbeinu Shalom. This is our chance to ask for help. The root of the word here, onyenu, is oni. Oni is a poor person. Poverty does not necessarily only mean in money, in materialism, but it can also mean in spirituality also. And we're referring often to ourselves, and we're begging Hashem to help us. Ugalenu mehiru leman shemecha. Redeem us speedily for your name's sake. Our tefillah over here is for our daily protection of our people around the world, in the four corners of the world. Our merits are not always sufficient to warrant salvation, and we're asking the Rabban Shem help us and save us in honor of your name. The Navi tells us that as long as Klal Yisrael are in Golus, it is a Chilul Hashem, and therefore we want that Chilul Hashem to be gone, and we'll ask Hashem to save us. Kiel Godol v'chazak Ota. You are a powerful Redeemer. Hashem has shown us over history how He always manages to redeem us. That means whatever situation we're in, the Rabbeinu Shalom always redeems us. He always helps us. He always saves us from situations that we're not necessarily, want to be in. And we're asking and telling the Rabbeinu Shalom, you do that. Chazak over here means strong. And Rav Victor Miller says it means powerful and capable. Baruch atah Hashem, Goyal Yisrael, the Redeemer of Klal Yisrael, the constant Redeemer of Klal Yisrael. The word Goyal, by the way, that we say every day in Shemonei Esrei, I'm assuming the Olam knows, is in the future. Unlike the way we express it at the end of Shema, Goyal Yisrael, which is a part of Yetzias Mitzrayim, which was in the past, here we mean in the future, Hashem saves us from all future problems. If only we would call out to Him, Hashem would help us. By the way, at this point, you should be thinking, and again, I don't know how many people even recognize and realize that this part of Shemonei Esrei is an opportunity for tefillah, for personal salvation in Ruchnius and in Gashmius, but this is a situation when a person can think for a moment about themselves or other people that need something. This is the time to daven. Now, let's move on for a moment to the next bracha. Rafa'enu. One of the most important brachas. They're all important, but this one sometimes kind of relates to us a bit more because we all know people never that need a refuah shalema, and this is the time to daven. So now that we've asked, if we go through Shemonei Esrei, the sequence, by the way, of the brachas is so beautiful. Once we've asked for mental and emotional help, now we're able to ask for physical help. The Gemara in Megillah Daf Yud Beis tells us, why is the bracha of Rafa'enu the 8th bracha of Shemonei Esrei? Believe it or not, every bracha has a specific place in the Shemonei Esrei. The Gemara asks, why is it the 8th bracha? And the answer is that Bris Milah is on the 8th day of the baby's life, and he requires a full healing. And therefore the ability of healing in this bracha is what we're asking the schus of Bris Milah. Let's start the first few words. Rafa'enu Hashem v'nirafa, hilas Hashem. We should be healed. Here we're clarifying that the Rabbeinu Shalom is the only healer. He's the master healer. He's the only one capable of treating an illness. As the Chovos HaLevavos writes, that many times he writes this, that there are times that of course we have to go to a doctor because that's called hishtadlus, and that's okay. Gemara tells us that there's a special heta to go to a doctor, that we're allowed to do that. But ultimately we have to recognize and realize that a refuah comes from the Melech Malchei Hamlachim. Help us so we must be saved. Here we're not only asking for a cure, but we're actually also asking to prevent side effects and negative outcomes. By the way, Rav Shimshon Pinkus once said, what's the difference between Rafa'enu and Shemonei Esrei and Asher Yotza that you say after going to the bathroom? Both of them are kind of asking for refuah, for health, right? So what's the difference between one and the other? So Shimshon Pinkus answers like this. He says that this bracha in Rafa'enu is once we're already sick, we need healing. So ask Hashem to heal us. When it comes to Asher Yotza, it's slightly different. Why? Asher Yotza is the prevention for ever becoming ill. You'll never be ill if you say Asher Yotza with kavona. Rosh Pinkus, by the way, I once heard him in a share screaming. I never heard him scream before. He screamed. He said, I'm not a Rebbe, I'm not a tzaddik, I'm not a godel. I'm a human being, and I guarantee you that if we all say Asher Yotza with kavona, we will never see sickness ever again. That's an amazing thing. But Akoponim here, we're referring to illness that people have, and therefore therefore we need sickness not only for ourselves, but we're asking, of course, in plural, rufa einu, right? Like most of Shemonei Esrei, it's not only said specifically for us, it's said for everyone. Ki salasenu, you are praise, that we will praise and attribute our refuah only to you, Hashem, when we get healed, and that is the purpose of tefillah, to become closer and closer to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Effect a complete cure for our illness. The first part of this tefillah refers to curing our souls, and the second part refers to our physical body. Rav Avigdor compares the refuah to a father hitting a child, but to teach him a lesson, when of course done correctly. It's not hit out of anger or out of spite, it's rather out of love. Let's finish off the bracha. Ki el melech roifa ne'eman v'racham anota. You are the king, healer, faithful and compassionate. The word melech appears, by the way, very rarely in the brachos of Shemonei Esrei. It's said over here to recognize that Hashem is the melech in all situations, and we say in this bracha both rachamim and melech, because melech refers to din, but Hashem can have both din and rachamim. A doctor can only have one or the other. He can either be merciful or he can decide not to operate so the patient doesn't have to suffer. Hashem has everything. Baruch atah Hashem, roifeh cholei Am Yisrael, who heals the sick all over Klal Yisrael. Hashem isn't just the healer of his people, he's also the healer of everyone in the world and everything. Hashem did promise special attention to us. One thing, by the way, interesting to note over here, the Torah points out how many words are there in this bracha. So there are 27 words in this bracha, and the psukim in which Hashem promises to heal us, there are also 27 words in the Torah, and there are 27 psukim dealing with bris milah as well. The Sefer Chazdei Ashkenaz brings out there are 27 letters in the Aleph base. Even though we must go to a doctor, we must never forget that it's the Rabbeinu Shalom, it's the true healer, who sends the doctor as a shliach to help us. And it's tomorrow, the next bracha, Baruch Aleinu.